Hello, peeps. I'm just getting myself situated here. Let's get Keith up in her. Let's add peeps. How do I do this again? There we go. Cool. All right. Whoa.
Hey.
What is up?
All right.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, I guess peeps will either pop in later or they can watch it at a later time. But definitely something I wanted to discuss because there's a lot of, I don't know, definitely a lot of theory, it seemed like, based on the characters. Some people, I mean, reading the cards, definitely in theory, I had some of the same feelings. Um, but it seems like people are still, I guess, confused as to, like, why Little Red is a better matchup against Beowulf. But there's also key points that I want to talk about because I also think Beowulf has a better matchup versus a lot more characters than Little Red does.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's true.
Just because of the sidekick thing. I think characters that are ranged and have sidekicks, Little Red has a lot more trouble with, as opposed to Beowulf, who can just straight eliminate them if you're not using your good cards with your sidekick.
Yeah, he does have that ability. All right, so first off, out of Little Red and Beowulf, who do you think's better in comparison with like every character, not just between the two? Which one do you think is higher up?
It's going to be Little Red for me.
Yeah.
And I say that due to its versatility and the explosiveness, and I'll talk more about that too. But just to answer your question, Little Red, 100%. I
All
didn't.
right.
I At first I was scared. I didn't think Little Red was gonna be good, or as good, because I read Beowulf's cards and I was like, this seems crazy. But
Yeah.
what about you?
I think that, well, originally I thought that when I played them maybe a couple times each, I thought that Little Red was better. But I honestly think Beowulf is. eh, we'll see in a couple months and know for sure probably, but I think Beowulf is actually going to climb on the tier list if there even is one. At least in
Yeah,
my mind, in my personal,
yeah,
he's gonna climb on the tier list, and I honestly think Little Red's gonna um, go down on the tier list as far as like competitive and people knowing the decks. Casual play, I think Little Red's gonna do seem a lot better to people, but to more uh, veteran players.
seasoned players.
I think I think she'll be just fine, but I think she's going to suffer from the same things um, Alice suffers for. Even though I think Alice is one of the best characters too, you have to know when to be small and when to be big, um, and that's another discussion in and of itself. But Little Red, you got to know when to lay cards, and that's a debatable topic also because you don't always have to lay what your opponent's expecting, and that's why I think she'll deplete on the tier list because she has all these little symbols everywhere on her cards, and people think, oh, I need to play that symbol. Well, yeah, that's probably going to be the most beneficial thing to do, play a card with a symbol. But if you can't, do it. And if you want to fake your opponent out, because as the game goes on, people are going to learn. Your opponent's going to learn Little Red and know, okay, well, they could hit me with this, but I know they can't do that effect. Or it narrows down the possibilities of the cards being played against you. And for people that look at the opponent's discard pile and know what they've already played, this will help them even more because they'll be able to, look at those symbols and they'll have them memorized, and they'll say, all right, well, you've played this many Wolfbanes and you have this in your discard. Now I know what cards you can play that will affect me with the ability. So I think it's smart sometimes to not use your ability and fake them out.
Yep. And that's where my counter argument is going to come from. And I think when it comes down to knowing and understanding the characters, Beowulf is going to be the same every single time. I think the reason that we got Little Red with these symbols is this entire different element. So I can definitely see. I don't see very many, if anybody, actually memorizing every possible outcome for a symbol in the discard pile. That's quite a bit. I mean, it's not the most outrageous thing to do. I mean, I can't say people don't have ridiculous memories. I don't see myself ever doing that.
That's why
But
I'm saying for like somebody that plays a lot is gonna know them, and they're gonna make sure they know them so that they can have every advantage they
and,
can.
and even with that, I don't think the symbols was the most important thing. I felt that it was a bonus. There was a lot of counter argument in terms of the cards are on the weaker side. She doesn't have a lot of heavier cards, and then people were comparing that. I felt like who was it? The Beowulf was running out of defenses, and that was his problem. Then they counted them and realized it wasn't a problem, which is where the other key point comes in. Little Red's got a lot of attacks. She has a lot of versatile cards, and she can exhaust weaker cards to make you exhaust your stronger cards to defend versus it. And then you end up in a point where you can't defend anymore, and she'll go in for those little hits that can take advantage from you. That's her main thing, is taking advantage. You discard a card, you lose a card. That hurts more sometimes than taking life, because you tend up losing life yourself if you run out of a deck. So you
Yeah,
almost force yourself to be aggressive. And her sidekick being ranged is cool, but Beowulf is strong against sidekicks. I think at the point of playing versus Beowulf, you're probably just going to be reckless anyway,
he's
like
he's strong
with your
against
sidekick.
he's strong against single sidekicks. Multi sidekicks kind of get in his way, but
Yeah,
he does have a lot
like
of
Robin
attack. He
Hood.
can just yeah.
Yeah, I struggle with him versus Robin Hood the first time
So
I played.
the huntsman, like you were saying with the like ability things, his ability doesn't need he can always use that ability if it
Yeah.
turns to a 6 instead of 4,
Hmm.
and he's got 3 of them, so he's already one of the most powerful sidekicks in the game. Um, and then he's got the one that heals Little Red for 4 if she has the wolf pelt in her basket. This one here,
That card's so good.
the Grim Tail, yeah, and he has 2 of those. That's healing 8 health. I think those are probably some of the good cards that he. Those are his 2 things. That's why you're going to want to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I'm also thinking in terms of like outside versus other characters. Again, I think Beowulf may have a better matchup versus more characters, but I still feel like if you're playing Little Red correctly, or you're really like familiar with her abilities, you won't run into any problems versus those characters. Like I was playing versus a few people. I think it was on the Discord, just random people. I kind of just hopped in on a thing, and I was playing someone versus Sherlock because they were convinced Sherlock was amazing, and I did really well versus him. Him knowing the cards in my hand, just the symbols just throw people off so much when they're focused on what the card does, and if they're focused on what the symbols do, the card can throw them off. So it's like even understanding it for a character like that. I mean, that was the whole reason why Sherlock was good. It's because you
Yeah.
knew the deck, you knew the game. If you didn't know the game, he was weak.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's to
I,
be said about a lot of those characters. But why do you think Beowulf would climb up more? I know why you think Little Red won't, but why do you think Beowulf will?
um, I've played Beowulf now 19 times.
What do you mean?
That's um,
I think I'm
I
at
think he might
12. I think
he
that's
might
all
be
I
my
have on.
favorite fighter. So I'm gonna try not to be biased. He's my favorite fighter.
Well, it's good to know
But
that now.
I have I mean like Alice is one of my favorite fighters in Sherlock, but I don't think. that they're in the top 3 best characters or anything.
I
So
remember Alice being crazy strong and feeling so powerful. And then I remember playing those few games versus you playing her, and I was like, man, this does not feel fun. I felt like I was just like way on top. I felt like I had to work twice as hard
yeah,
to have her strength, which I mean is a good thing. But I was really surprised by it. I was like, man, it makes her feel so weak if I don't like
there
I can't
are,
play as reckless.
just like with every character, there's going to be matchups, and like with any game, video games even, there's going to be matchups that are better for certain characters and worse, even if it's the best character in the game. Like Bigfoot, he now has somebody, he's still the best, I believe, in the game, but he's got a counter pick now. Like overall, compared to everybody, he's the best. Whereas Beowulf isn't 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 the best overall.
People watching me eat Chick-fil-A too, by the way. I'm like, yo, I hopped on here. I didn't get to eat. I came back from the gym. Yeah, gym, Chick-fil-A, they go well together.
Yeah,
Continue.
seems counterproductive. Um,
1,000-calorie workout. I did good, guys.
more than I did, I guess. Actually, I worked putting sheet metal on a bottom of a boat today, so that counts, right?
I'll give it to you. And you down, Chick-fil-A.
Anyway, I think that Beowulf will rise because early on I wasn't understanding quite as well as I could have what cards to play at what times and how things worked with the other cards, like how the deck worked with itself, and when best to optimize things and um, to take damage on purpose sometimes for rage and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
When we
so
first played, I remember reading the cards and thinking, this feels too broken. Like, how were you not having, like, a ridiculous advantage? Because,
here's
like,
his
their cards felt like cartoons. Like, his
here's his
damage
broken
was
card.
ridiculous.
This card. This is why he's better than Bigfoot. If
The
the,
0 cost? Oh, no, that's not the... Hold on. What card do I
this
have?
is the one that says immediately you can spend 2 rage and deal damage to the fighter equal to the printed value of their card.
Which
So
one?
Bigfoot's got 3 6s with larger than life, and if you lay one of these on is the equal to Grendel, which you have 3 of them also, um, then he's going to end up taking 6 damage. You're going to take 3,
Okay, yeah.
and you're
So,
gaining a rage. So
the
spend 2 rage, gain a rage, and he'll take 6. You'll take 3. That's pretty good
this is the card that was
trade-off.
busted for me.
Heirloom.
Granted, I remember when we played the first time. I discarded one of them, and I was like, "Wow, this is really good." But the cannot be canceled part is what really hurt.
That's amazing.
That's
So it
that's
can be a 8.
you can literally cancel any one of his other cards, and it hurts a little bit less. But not being able to cancel, like I fainted this, and I remember just taking so much damage.
You
Like you
take
could just recklessly
6.
flip all your rages.
You took 6 damage. He can deal 8 damage, and if you faint it, you don't want to faint that one. You gotta be careful not to faint that one.
But I got so scared, like crap. Is this even the right time to use a feint? If not, I'm done. Like,
Right.
granted, now I know there's two, so I'm a little bit more cautious about feints. But
Here's the
Jesus,
thing.
hard.
Here's the thing with Beowulf. Almost never. Usually people use feint as a defense.
Oh no, for him an attack for sure.
If you're gonna go up against Beowulf, use your feints as attacks. I hate to say that because then people like he's gonna be my main, so people are gonna use that. But all his card effects aren't that. You don't want to cancel Fatal Struggle. You
Yeah.
don't want to cancel. A lot of his stuff doesn't really matter to be canceled unless he's attacking a sidekick maybe, and you don't want to die to that instant death sidekick thing. But
Yeah,
pretty
and even
much
that,
it's
like,
dangerous. Like you might as well just feint and then cancel his defenses because he'll be using like um, feint to attack, and then you can cancel things like the War King if he's defending with that, and or his one that gets him to run away, his skirmish. He's got 3 skirmishes to run away, um, and you can just bounce feint against feint. So I use if I fight Beowulf, I use my feints to attack, and yeah, I mean it's
I've been
difficult.
doing that more with a lot of characters lately too, because a lot of characters have really solid defensive card abilities. So
Um, I think that sometimes you have to think outside the box with this character. Just like with every character, because some people don't think of things. I was playing as Dracula, and I needed more cards in my hand to do a what's that? Beast
I
Flame.
feel, I feel like I am the only person that plays Dracula and doesn't get take off like discarding so many cards with it. I've never felt like that was what I needed to win.
Oh yeah, I don't think you
It's
need to win with that. It's just
no,
another
it's
good card.
oh, it is. I've just never discarded more than 2 cards for that card.
Yeah.
If that, yeah, even that's kind of scary to me.
Anyway, I knew how much I needed because I knew how much defense he had and what he had to defend with. So I used, I damaged one of my sisters to draw a card. So like thinking outside the box with certain cards um, can help you. So I think that with Beowulf you have to think outside the box and take damage sometimes. And like he's so good against Bigfoot. He's so good against Arthur.
I was surprised by the Bigfoot matchup. When you said it, I tried it after you mentioned that because I didn't get around to playing that
And
yet.
Bigfoot has no, 5 feints pretty much. Um, and if Heirloom can't be fainted, he's
It's over.
what's your 5 feints gonna do? Not it's gonna defend 3 maybe of
Versus
8.
when I played him versus a friend of mine playing Robin Hood, that was hard. That was a really hard matchup for me.
Beowulf,
Yeah, I was Beowulf. They were Robin Hood. That was a
yeah.
really hard matchup for me. That and Muldoon, obviously, he's a weird one because the traps and he's got all those dudes that are ranged. Like him taking out one of them isn't enough.
So Beowulf will struggle against
I haven't played him versus Medusa though, so I don't have any take on that one.
yeah. Well, Medusa damages him for free in her zone, and he gets a rage for it. So 1 damage for 1 rage is better than it's good. I actually go in there and take it anyway. If unless I'm full rage, then I stay out of her zone. But because she'll want to damage you then, because then you can't get any more. But as far as matchups go, some characters that Beowulf doesn't do too well against are um, Bruce Lee,
Really?
because Bruce Lee's attacks aren't high values, and for the Grendel, whatever equal to Grendel, for that to work properly, you're only gonna get like a 4 damage. I don't even think he's got higher than a 4. So you only
Actually, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm trying to think. That might be another one
it's
I didn't do.
because it's
He can
because it,
combo though. That's the real big issue.
I know. And
Yeah.
that's a big issue with Beowulf because he doesn't have too much defense. Um, it's okay, but it's not like
Yeah, and
Invisible
you can
Man
count.
good or
He
Little
he
Red.
has a lot of defense. It's just they're not going to protect him. Is the real.
Yeah, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
He's got
6, 7, 8,
Grendel.
9,
That's
10,
that's
11.
the main
He's
one. The
got
rest will
12.
give him damage.
He's only got 12.
Is it?
Yeah, 12 defense cards. And
Yeah.
he
Wow.
he
Yeah, that's
he
not as much.
he does have things that work, well with him, and
Yeah.
the golden drinking horn where you get to pick an effect. This one here.
Yeah.
That's nice
That's
because you
cool.
can heal, you can move forward, draw 2, run away, whatever. And he's got a sidekick that has 9 health and has some cool abilities, but his sidekick will also die because he has less defense than
Yeah.
he's only got 6
I'm
possible
not gonna lie to
defense.
you. I keep forgetting he has a sidekick. I don't think I've ever been in a position where that sidekick defined any part of the game at all. He was just there.
He
At
does
least so far.
his best thing that he does is the Remnant of Valor thing. Wiglaf deals 1 damage to each adjacent fighter if Beowulf was dealt damage this way, gain an action, and he's
Yeah.
got two of those, so that's his best thing. Um, I thought that Fatal Struggle was going to be a horrible card. It's a value of 4 attack for either of them. If you won the combat, draw 2 cards. If you lost the combat, your opponent draws 2 cards. Almost never is my opponent drawing 2 cards because I'm not
Yeah.
playing. I'm not playing it when they're gonna have a advantage. And then a lot of people thought that Hot for Battle was going to be a horrible card. But to attack with Wiglaf, it moves him, it swaps spaces with Beowulf. To attack with Wiglaf and then get him out of the way because he doesn't have much defense and put Beowulf there to take damage and rage instead is um, better in a lot of cases. But anyway, I think he's going to be better, mostly uh, I think he's going to go up on the tier list because of all those things. Because he's got the uncancelable 8 value pretty much if you get everything properly. And he's scary. When he's got full rage, people are scared, and you can trick them and play some trash card that they'll cancel the effect of and still take damage. So you can play like, I like to use this 4 value Fatal Struggle, and then they cancel it or whatever. I don't know.
The thing too, and my main argument for Little Red is her big difference for me is her character, her sidekick doesn't define her. Like most characters, sidekicks define the game entirely.
If
Like
if if Little Red didn't have a sidekick, she'd be just as strong as like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
she that sidekick for me is a throwaway. The sidekick has really good attacks and has the ability to use some of your really solid defense. Doesn't have a whole lot it can use, to be honest with you. But the cards it does use help benefit to keep Little Red in the game. I don't feel like, for example, if I look at Alice, her sidekick helps define that character. Same with Sherlock. That character does is full on 5 damage and can really and is the goal is to keep it away from Sherlock because Sherlock
Yeah,
won't do good if you sandwich it in and just keep hitting it. A character like Little Red can handle being stuck next to it. I mean, she's not ranged for a reason. Her sidekick's ranged, correct? Yeah.
yeah. He
Like I
um
almost every game I play, I almost have the sidekick away from the character and just use his ranged ability. I don't think I've ever gone melee with him. Little Red's the main.
well, obviously you should go melee with him because
You have
when
to.
when he's adjacent, he gets a 6 value.
That too.
So that's his important thing. And what's funny is I think you should take him out. I used to never take out sidekicks and just go for damage on the hero, but I almost always take the sidekick out unless it's the porter. Um, I think
The
one of the
porter. Who's
most
the porter?
Sinbad's
Oh yeah. I keep
and he's
forgetting his
he's
sidekick
weak.
too. Yes.
Um, but the who is it? The I think the character that you want to take out their sidekicks is Dracula more than almost any other fighter because the sisters don't have great defense. Most of the time, people will say, "I'll take it," and they'll die. The
They're
sisters will
just there
come.
to exhaust your resources. That's all I use them for. They're
Yeah,
literally there to get in the way to make you waste your cards, good or
I
bad.
I always kill them, always.
Yeah.
Even if they come back to life, I just go kill them again, and then I'll focus on Dracula.
Yeah. There are a bunch of walls, so then I gain some more health, run away a little bit, and then when I'm ready to go in for the kill, I'll do that, and then I can stay away. By then, you probably decked out because my sisters had so many interactions with you, which is funny. I love Dracula, but we ain't gonna discuss Dracula here.
The
But
never leave the path, where it deals 2 damage to each opposing fighter in Little Red Zone. I did that, and I took out. I was playing her versus Dracula. I took out all the sisters at once. They're all in the same zone, and I damaged Dracula. That's 2
yeah,
damage to everybody. That's insane.
yeah, I played this versus Raptors, and it was like, wow, you guys sandwiched me, but it's already over.
Yeah, stinks to be you.
Yeah. And Raptors was the one I was always scared of getting sandwiched because that's like almost over. Like I remember when I first played, it was versus you, and I was playing big or Bruce late, and I got sandwiched, and it was over. I didn't even realize till it was too late. And
Yeah,
yeah, but I didn't struggle at all with that. Letting them, you almost want them to sandwich you, especially if they don't know you have that card. But
this
even with them knowing, they can't afford to not sandwich you because that's how their strategy goes.
this Once Upon a Time, where she after combat deals 3 damage to opposing fighter, and she's got 2 of those. That's crazy because that's 6 free damage, and then she's got that um, deal 2 damage. She's got 2 of those, so 6, 7, 8, 9. She's
So
got
she's not only
10,
dealing free damage for attacks
10.
and defenses that aren't high, but she's also so. For example, one of my favorite cards in this is going to be what large hand you have. So you may return this card to your hand. So this is freaking annoying after combat. Or if you have the symbol instead, you can return the top card of your discard pile to your hand. That can be
Yeah.
absolutely insanity.
You're
And
wasting their cards, yeah.
and there's a and I'm sure that came a factor as to why there's only 2 of certain cards in this deck, because you got cards like move up to 3 spaces, gain an action. You got that's not no, that's one that has 3. So the one that you read earlier, never leave the path, only has 2. Now you can get it back for a third time. But outside of that, even when you're not set up for that, you still get the regular ability to keep adding it back to your hand, and you have 2 copies of this. So even if they discard it, unless they get luckier, or you have to discard it for whatever reason, that card is gonna help keep you in the game from decking out. That was another thing that came up too, was I wasn't decking out as much because I still had an attack to go. If they ran away, sure, but if they decked out, they couldn't afford to run away either. Um, the other thing too, so we got the free damage. Obviously, the main argument that I saw online was her attacks aren't very high, but that doesn't matter. Outside of the free damage, and you got the Huntsman doing some decent damage. We have, hold on, where's the card here?
Cancel all effects on your opponent's card and ignore its value if you get that symbol.
There was a card in here that's just,
Is it what
we
big
got card.
eyes?
So we got the ignoring values of cards. That's another one that's like free damage.
Oh, and what terrible teeth you have. Big mouth you have. That's what it is. What a terrible big mouth you have. This one.
I know. I'm pretty sure there's a card in here that does what I'm thinking of. I know I'm not confusing it with a character.
This one deals damage to the opposing fighter
There it is.
equal to the printed value of their card. Is that the one?
Mm-hmm. No. So I'm looking at the Stones of the Belly. Your opponent discards 1 random card, add its boost value to this. So we got cards that remove advantage. I feel like there was another one. So there's 3 copies of that card. Is there not another card that does this too? Am I misremembering?
I think you're misremembering.
Yeah.
But look
It's
at
just that one.
what a terrible big mouth you have. Deals damage. It's similar to Beowulf's thing where they take damage.
Yeah.
When you're defending, they're taking a bigger amount of damage.
To the printed value of their card. And it's good that they put that because, like,
Yep. If they lay a 6, you're taking 4 damage, they're taking 6. That's always a good trade.
because like you don't want that to be like what do you call it? King Arthur. Poor King Arthur with his Excalibur about ready to take all that damage. But no, but because it's printed value, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess I think in terms of Little Red, the main thing is she is probably one of the only characters that is aggressive but also unpredictable. So yeah, you got the symbols that have different things that you can do. Granted, obviously there's a lot of cards there that have multiple effects it can do, but there's also the factor that if you stop paying attention to that, then you can't predict their movements. Like that was one of the things I started doing. I stopped caring about the symbols and just cared about what I thought would throw my opponent off. Like, do I think they're going to try to feint me now? Do I think they're going to try to escape on me because their character can do that? There's so many factors. Obviously, matchups, you got to consider different things. And we're talking in terms of a competitive aspect. Obviously, new players, I don't think it's a contest. I don't think Little Red could lose if you don't know the characters in and out. Just for that simple fact. I mean, unless Beowulf opened everything and Little Red just wasn't getting her gears moving. um, which can happen. Obviously, I can't say you can't draw bad in the deck. But I
Yeah.
will. I, I I definitely agree that I see Beowulf moving up the ladder because when I first played him, I was like, I don't think he's gonna be that great versus like a lot of the other characters. And then I started to play him a little bit more. I've only played him about 12 times. I think I'm up to 17 now with Little Red. I think something along those lines. Um, I had like a tally somewhere. But she's just given me the most success because of her random explosiveness. So like you think you know what's coming, and then you can't predict it because you don't know what your opponent's thinking with it. Like even playing other people playing the deck, it can be pretty tricky. Like even understand, like I said, even understanding the deck, it's just not always like. At least if I understood the deck for like Sherlock, that doesn't guarantee me a win either.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not. favoring Sherlock as much. I'm
Yeah, I
wondering,
think
has your theory or your thoughts changed on him?
well,
Like, do you like him?
when he first came out, I thought he'd be like right along with Bigfoot Medusa, but I think he's a little. I think he's more along the lines of like Alice level good.
He's fair, honestly.
Yeah. I love it when people get irritated, especially you can tell. I play with I don't know. I play with countless people online, and my brothers and my younger siblings and sisters and stuff, and uh, it's funny. I can tell like people's age. This is a little side note that I thought was hilarious. That I can kind of tell like if someone's young or older based off of um, how they react. If they react poorly when they're losing, and if they react snobby when they're winning, and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
no,
think
yeah,
that's funny.
yeah. I mean,
And Sherlock is one of those people, along with Invisible Man, that irritate people, or Bruce Lee, and they'll say that's overpowered. What, you just hit me 5 times in a row? That type of thing. Like they just don't understand or whatever. But
I'm wary about certain characters I pick with certain people. I got friends who could rage quit, and I like to have a better experience than just win the game. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If I'm being competitive, it's probably gonna be with someone like you, who I know has played a lot more than most of the peeps I play with. Although, playing with like some of my friends, they're starting to get really good, so I'm starting to like have to really sit there and think for a while. But actually, Tyler Vick brought up a really good one. Thoughts on the biggest weaknesses for both characters? That is a really good
yeah.
question.
I think Beowulf's biggest weakness is not having enough defense. And when he does have some defense, like the War King, he'll have to spend rage that he needs to use to attack to defend himself with. And then I think Little Red's biggest weakness is people are too focused. I don't think it's really her, maybe. I think people can overcome that, her weakness of people feel like they have to match the symbols. It's not just about matching the symbols, it's about playing her optimally, and maybe lining it up for something later. Maybe it is better to take, you know, 1 damage instead of 3 right now and not match the symbol, for example.
I think I think I think the biggest weaknesses come towards perception with the characters. So for Little Red, I'll start with her. Little Red, you you're used to how melee characters normally are, and you're used to being really aggressive with the character. And I think because she doesn't have high attack values, that being aggressive like that can lose you the game on what on how you're used to. Like, you still have to play the get out of the way game. With a lot more aggressive characters, they can handle staying there. She doesn't have high attacks or very high defenses at all. She can deal you damage. She can take advantage from you, which is the point. But she isn't as aggressive as like what you expect with normal melee characters. So I
Yeah,
think that like perception of her is her weakness. I also think for Beowulf, the perception of him is overextending on rage because you can. Because if you do too early, and they obviously, if I see they don't have rage, I'm going in for the big hits because I know you're not going to be able to do as much. So I also think managing resources, not managing your resources, is his weakness. But I guess if we're thinking in terms of just static weaknesses, Little Red just doesn't have very high attacks for a melee character, and for Beowulf, he doesn't have very many defenses. And when it comes to characters that do a lot of quick combo attacking, he's not going to have a lot to work with. That's going to be his. But
okay.
yeah, that was an excellent question. And I see Nick um, mentioned some stuff here. So he said, I had trouble playing against new characters this weekend because I wasn't sure what cards my opponent had. I think it was the Raptors that have cards that can stack and give extra action.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be like that. Honestly, that's
you
my
got to learn
most
them.
excited part about Unmatched, was not knowing any of them. Because like I said, when I played you versus the Raptors, because I'd never played them, and you were like, "Oh, cool, I'll play it." I was frustrated. I played. I
Oh,
played.
yeah, I remember you said, did you just, I played like two of those
It
ones that
was.
run across the
It
map.
wasn't a long game at all. Yeah, it was comical. It was like draw and move. already across the entire map. I was like, yo, get out of here. And then I
I
was
beat
sandwiched in as Bruce Lee, and it was over. I was like, I don't know what these cards are doing. I don't know what strategy is. So
um
scary.
I played a game against Bigfoot and I was Raptors on Sarpedon, and I moved in for my first action and attacked and got some good damage, and then they moved and they attacked me twice, and then they didn't have hardly any cards in their hands after that, and so I maneuvered and then I attacked him and killed him in 2 turns with the Raptors. Bigfoot.
Yeah, I mean, so knowing the characters, I mean, that can be a bit of a disadvantage, but I also find that very exciting. Like I
Yeah,
almost love watching new players play the game and read the cards and kind of get excited to see like their perception on what's thematic for them. Like if they love Jurassic Park, they're gonna see different things that I won't be able to see in terms of theme because I don't know Jurassic Park as well as a bigger fan would. I know the cinematography aspect, but character aspect, I'd be lucky if
yeah.
I know all their names. I'm terrible.
I'm not like huge on Jurassic Park. I think it's a good IP to add for this game, and I don't really like IPs in general. And if Bruce Lee counts for an IP, I'd say he's more of a historical person. I'm down for people from history.
I
Um,
agree.
I'm sure they'll do more in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jurassic Park. I thought that was an excellent one. You don't see a lot of that, and just something about three raptors on the board was just so comical to me. And the
Yeah.
fact that they moved so much is just, it was like Bigfoot all over again. I was like, all right, they're not doing this again. All right, so we got,
How do you
I
like the new
played
map?
Invisible Man the
Oh,
other day, and I didn't think he would be any good because a lot of people said he sucks, but I played a three-way with King Arthur and Medusa, and I wrecked them. Honestly, when I first played that set, Cobble and Fog, I thought Invisible Man was the best character in the set. When I first played him, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." He can just like, he has like basically teleportation in this game, which sounds insane to me. I think he's really good. I think you have to work a lot harder with a character like him to be good, versus someone who's like really good at the game and really understands the game. I ran into that a couple of times. But other than that, I think Invisible Man's an excellent character.
I think
Uh, at,
he's decent. Being able to slip away and defend pretty well are good. It's that his attack isn't that great. He relies on those
the
schemes,
tokens,
and
and the schemes, yeah, and the
yeah,
tokens boost them up, which is like it's hard to like, yeah, it's hard to
I
maneuver with those.
I don't think he's trash tier like I think um who is it? Willow. I think she's trash tier. I don't think he's that far down, but I think he's just average.
I'm getting sad because I'm watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I'm loving Willow, and I'm waiting for her to start getting magic because right now she doesn't. But
Oh,
and I really want her to be good. So with Willow, I played her for the first time 2 games, 2v2, and I liked her that way because I was playing her, so I knew when to bring back who, and I knew who to direct to like go in for the attacks while I like kind of hung around and brought back. I was Willow, they were Dracula, and I was bringing back the sisters, which was pretty cool. I did it twice, which
yeah.
was tight.
And
But
the sisters already come back on with Dracula, so that's like
yeah,
never-ending sisters. I
yeah, and
think,
they blocked us both, which was cool.
yeah, she's a lot better in. I mean, that's a whole different subject. The tier list would obviously change up a lot for 2v2 matchups and whatnot.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
she
yeah.
does. She does better. King Arthur does better. They all do a little bit better.
He said, "How do you like the new map in the Beowulf expansion and the new style circles?"
All right, let me answer this.
Yeah, go ahead. You answer first.
The circles are trash. I hate the idea.
Oh no! All right. Well, I'm gonna intercept. So in the
Yeah, you do that.
in the unboxing, I talk about it. So I think there was a lot of people that wanted it, and I'm very happy they got it because I didn't think
Yeah, it's
they were gonna
fine.
give the opportunity. I I don't care for seeing more of the artwork. I personally really like the circles on how they normally are for 2 reasons. One, I like the aesthetic of it, and two, it's a lot easier to see. I mean, my eyesight is good. I don't have bad eyesight, but like if I'm trying to mindlessly focus on my deck, I can't also focus on the map. Like my brain
Yeah,
doesn't work that way. That's a me thing.
I think the way they had it already was good. And like I hear people rip on the art for like the board art, not the card art. Nobody's ever ripped on the card art.
Never.
But the board art, I've never ever had a problem with that board art. I never even thought, and I do like my own artwork. I draw, I paint, I I do all sorts of stuff like on paper. And but I admire art too, and other like this is one of the things that drew me to the game as well. First, that it was like Heroescape, and I loved Heroescape. Second, I looked and the art was amazing, and it seemed so like simple and smaller and easy type game to play.
Yeah.
I want to be able to just look down, see what I'm on, and know what my opponent's on without having to squint.
I'm
And
more curious though if the people that wanted that option like are happy to see that. Like what the like percentage of people that actually liked it. I would really like maybe that's worth doing a poll here or somewhere.
they did a
But I'm
poll
curious. Did they?
on Facebook, and way more people liked Solid than Rings. There's a couple of people that like Ring, and I'm glad they have that option. It's better than doing like nothing on the other side.
I
Sure,
know, like a Jurassic Park. Rest in
yeah,
peace.
that's even that. Like people complained about that, and I was like, it's
It was
fine.
fine. It was
Yeah,
fine.
we already have a buttload of maps. I mean, we're gonna get a ton more this next year too. We get all those. We get the Battle of Legends Volume 2 maps. We get
It's like
the
it's the
Marvel
same
maps.
thing with like Smash Bros. Like y'all get so excited for new maps when most of them are just reskins of the same map. Like, does it? Do you need it? You don't need it. I think they're cool. I love having more maps and I love abilities in maps because they're getting more. They're doing more, I guess, creativity with it, and I like that. Like the
Yeah.
doors and stuff like that. I like that. I like that a lot. But I don't think we need much more for it. But I guess to answer your question, I think the circles are cool. Um, they don't affect me. It's not the side of the board I'll be using. But I do like looking at the art. It was kind of a shocker to think, oh, this was what was under the circle. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the card art is already enough for me. That's what I have in my hand and I'm looking at in my face. Now, Johnny mentions, what is your favorite way to play? 1v1, 2v2, free for all. I like 1v1. I first started playing the game only 2v2, and then COVID happened and
Yeah.
1v1, and I realized I liked it a lot more because I could focus on one character.
1v.
Sometimes one really strong one like Medusa can really throw off a 2v2 in the beginning. Granted, I haven't done a whole lot of them since COVID, so my
Hmm.
opinions can change a bit. I like having more people around the table, but 1v1, 100% for me.
Uh, I don't know. I haven't played enough 2v2, but I like the idea of matching up more. I like the idea, things changing. You don't
Yeah.
you don't know who's gonna, come out on top because these matchups you will not you probably won't even do it a second time. Maybe even in your life, like those specific four people, the odds of both you picking the same, unless you're gonna like for sure do that every time or something, or that's your go-to
Yeah.
main team. But you're gonna switch it up so much. I think that it adds a lot more variety.
Yeah. I
I
agree. I
I
would
like
like.
2v2. I
I do
love it.
too.
I hope they do a
Oh,
3v3 map, and I hope they have the rules for that 3v3 thing that or one every man for themselves type of thing. I hope more stuff like that and rules happen for like that as well.
yeah. And honestly, I can't say I have. I haven't played a 2v2 with four players that are really good at the game or understand the game really well. Every
Yeah.
time I've played, I've had to teach people stuff, which is fine. I like it that way because it also lets me work with them and kind of help counter off their weaknesses because I know what they are.
Yeah, of course.
But
Right.
I would like, I mean, it might be worth trying to set something up with some of these Facebook peeps or Discord peeps because 2v2 with that would be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1v1. Johnny, what do you like? I don't know if you're still watching this, but what do you prefer?
He says,
I would
Tyler said that he wants a 4v4.
player free for all. Who everyone
Yeah.
wants that. I'm scared because like I know if I play with like three of my other friends because they know I've played the game so much and I'm genuinely pretty good at strategy based games, they're
Yeah.
just gonna gang up on me, and I don't think I want that for
Right.
three characters. I mean, three free for all I can run, but four free for all you can't really go anywhere. Especially that I'm terrible at the names. You're better than I am, but like the boat map where you only got two ways to exit, that's two characters block my way. I'm done. I can't go nowhere.
Oh, yeah. The boat map's definitely one of my favorite maps as well.
Same. But if it was for free for all, I guess if they did a map specifically for it,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. I mean, I would play it. I would try it. I just know my luck. I would get ganged up a lot.
Yeah.
Just knowing my friends.
Yeah, I've played 3v3 and played my own way and came up with different rules. Like, um, in Dice Throne, you have to, uh, in multiplayer games in Dice Throne, I might be wrong with this because you get, um,
Uh oh.
you get a benefit for attacking the highest character or whatever.
All right, you're good now. You froze for a sec. I was like, uh oh, it's over.
Oh, I should be good. Um, yeah, you get a benefit for attacking in Dice Throne. I think that for Unmatched, you should just get a little bit of a benefit for attacking the person who is taking the least amount of damage, or something like that. And I realize it could be different with people that heal and stuff like Dracula. Uh, he might benefit from that more. But yeah, I'd like to see. I'm curious to see their rules for the game.
Yeah, I'd be interested in it. I'm wondering because they have to consider things like characters who have a lot of sidekicks. Like, how does the three free for all work with like Muldoon with like his sporadic nonsense amount of sidekicks he has? Is it gonna be cramped? Is he
Yeah,
gonna actually have an advantage there? Because they are also ranged, which suck. So they're gonna have to focus on how far the range goes on those boards too.
yeah. Is
That's a tricky one. And
uh,
then you got Raptors who are just 3-1, which is like that's
you
already
know,
kind of tricky.
Raptors don't do that well in 2v2. I've played them like multiple times in 2v2, and I don't seem to do well with Raptors in 2v2. Maybe it's just me, but
I
no.
suck with Raptors in general. I haven't. I like watching other people play Raptors because I know a lot of people have fun playing them just because of what they can do.
I like them a lot. I mean, they're fun. And same with
Yeah,
Muldoon. Like, Muldoon, he's just like whatever as a character. He's not fun to play. He's fun to play as, but not the character. Like, I don't want to be Muldoon. I would love to be, three raptors, or I'd love to be Bigfoot or whatever, see how King Arthur works. But just a guy with a gun that sets traps from some movie, I don't really care much for.
that's fair. I mean, when I first saw Muldoon, I was like, I was not thrilled to play him. And then I played him for the first time. I was like, yo, he is insane. These traps are just out of hand. And he's just got like a million people.
Yeah.
Come back. Why did they do that? And
he's
then I saw his weakness and I was like, okay, he can lose. But it felt like he couldn't lose when I first played him.
he's fun in
I like him.
two-player map or two v twos.
I don't know if I've played. Oh,
You
I played
have. You played
against him.
against me. I
I made
picked.
the mistake of doing two melee characters and let you be two ranged characters. That
Yeah,
was bad. Not
and I.
only ranged, but all of the sidekicks. You had Robin Hood and Muldoon. That was a freaking
Yeah,
nightmare.
seven sidekicks, traps, and two ranged people on Sarpedon.
I had what Alice and Dracula was it?
Something, yeah.
Alice died immediately, and
Yeah.
then Dracula was like trying to hide. He got one guy, but we played it wrong at one point, and that would have made me probably lose a lot sooner too.
Yeah, I forget what it was. I do remember something like that.
The player pass. I thought it was player to player, not character to character.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, that was just not. I
And
would
you
have
and
got
you still
destroyed.
lost.
I did. I would last a lot longer than I should have though.
Yeah.
Tyler said favorite character to play with, and then most underrated character. Ooh, you
Bill
answer that.
Beowulf, favorite character to play as. Most underrated character is Muldoon. Nobody plays him. Nobody talks about him. I never fight a Muldoon. Never. And he's actually pretty good. He moves
Okay.
three. He moves three. He has three sidekicks that can come. He brings all of them back with one card. All of them. And he has two of those cards.
And they're ranged, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And all of
That's
them are
so
ranged.
silly. He on paper sounds way too broken.
I think he's slept on. I think he's the most slept on character. You know
That's
what?
fair.
I'm gonna start playing him. I'm gonna play.
I think you convinced me to like
I'm
want to mess with him a little
gonna
bit
play
more.
10 games with him, and then actually right now I'm playing 10 games with every single fighter and seeing what happens.
That's fair.
Um,
Yeah.
then I get a better feel for everybody, and I can have a better say. I know I've probably played each character way more than 10 times, but now I'm keeping track of them and stuff.
And the more times you play, the more you know. So 10 times from now is 10 times better than 10 times from the past.
Yeah.
For me, favorite character is still Dracula. I don't see that changing for a while. But he just has the best recursion for me. So one of the issues that I see with a lot of players that play the game is
Yeah.
they go in for the kill most of the time, and I think in terms of like my time with competitive play, playing like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh, the biggest factor, and I think the biggest thing that's going to be a big change when we get to playing in person,
Yeah.
when you can play with people in person, is psychologically playing the game. And like for example, Yu-Gi-Oh is an easier one to explain it with. There's plenty of times where like people would play me and they would have the greatest hand of all, but like you psychologically lose. Like I'd won a lot of huge tournaments at one point in my life. So that's like intimidating for people. But there's other ways to like have that ability versus people. And
The
I think
the
with
ability
Dracula,
of what?
psychologically winning.
Yeah, I think I played competitive Smash Bros. And went to tournaments and stuff, and that's a big part of it too.
Yeah. Smash Bros so hard. I play versus people that were good and I never liked playing it again since. I was Mr. Game and Watch. I just want to have fun. I want to flip shrimp and I want you to leave me alone.
I think
Don't come
it's
over here with your Diddy Kong on some zero nonsense, constant throw
infinite
bananas.
banana.
I hate that. Yeah, that banana is so powerful. But yeah, I mean, I got off topic there. So with Dracula, he is able to check all those boxes without me having that psychological aspect. He has a way to not only have recursion, he has health. He has a way to play the long game better than any other character I've seen thus far. And I think playing the long game versus characters like most characters is just most of them don't have a long game strategy. Most underrated character is probably going to be the one mentioned earlier, which is Invisible Man. I don't think people. I think a lot of
Oh,
people have played him a few times and lost, and kind of accepted the fact that he probably isn't good. So I think between him and also Jekyll and Hyde, but I'm also it's underrated for me because I don't play him at all, and I feel like he's really good, and that's the sad part. I'm still, I still feel like he could be like an insane character. I just don't play him because I want to play other characters. I don't know.
uh, yeah, I
I don't
like
know.
playing Jekyll and Hyde. He's pretty fun.
Which character he said King Arthur's still number one for me. Tyler Vick, he's gonna be on King Arthur for life.
Who's
Beowulf
that,
and Bruce
Tyler?
Lee tied. Yeah, Beowulf and Bruce Lee tied for second. Um, or is it tied for second? Like just like favorite, or what's an underrated character? You didn't tell us, Tyler. Johnny said, which characters
I,
do you think have the best politics? Like, hey, I'll do blank if you do blank, or don't blank. Oh, wow,
oh,
that's a hot little
well,
question here. Wait, you froze. I can't hear you. I'll give him a minute. Oh, you came back. You're back.
oh, did you hear me?
No.
Hey, did you hear me though?
No, I didn't hear you. No, what did you say?
I was I was wondering, is he talking about characters? Is his questions like characters that are um like Rob the Rich or whatever that Robin Hood has, where you draw a card and you get to draw an extra if they don't discard one?
That's what I'm thinking he's saying, because that'd be the only thing that makes sense for me, unless it,
Well, there's
if
some that say take damage or this, and my Rumpelstiltskin, he's got a couple of those.
who was it? Doesn't Sherlock do that? Like if you do something, he can get this, or if you don't do it, he gets this advantage.
Uh,
I could be remembering wrong. I know
oh,
one character like can draw a card or something like that, but if you don't do something, they draw another card or something like that.
well, yeah, that's Robin Hood. I was thinking of a character
Yeah.
that
Okay.
isn't released yet.
Fair. I was really I was trying to. That's why I asked you the question because I wasn't sure like if this was like someone if I was thinking right. But yeah, all right, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Robin Hood. I don't know. I feel like there isn't a lot of cards that do that, and there isn't characters that center around it. So I guess you asking that question, Johnny, is there any character you feel that fits into that category for you? Because I'm curious to hear the like theory behind that because that's a good question. Tyler said, I think Jekyll and Hyde is pretty underrated. I agree. I think it's underrated for
Yeah, I
me
agree.
because I just don't want to play him. I want to play everyone else. I don't know. It's hard. It's like Raptors, I want to play, but I also don't want to play them because I don't know. There's so many other characters I want to play. Lately, it's been Little Red. I just wanted to get a bunch in with her. And then I got tired and I wanted to see how Beowulf was because I felt like I was sleeping on him and I was. And he's really fun too. But every time a new set comes out, I want to play. I'll be honest with you though, for Buffy, because of the timing that she came out, I haven't played a lot of those characters enough. And I don't think I've played Spike myself. I've played against him. I don't think I've played Angel. I've played Buffy like 4 times, and I played Willow twice.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
most
Well,
annoying character to play against, Tyler said.
I don't really get annoyed at characters. I don't. I just don't. I don't have an annoying character. They don't annoy me.
Most annoying for me, Muldoon's the most annoying. He sets traps and has all those people that got range. That's annoying.
Hey, you be
It's annoying to
Beowulf.
deal with.
You be Beowulf against that and just take the trap and the rage.
I mean, I don't mind taking the trap in
Set
general
yourself
because
up.
I can get Muldoon to deck out most of the time. But his ranged characters on top of that is a problem. I think it's annoying. So I mean, it's an annoying strategy to play against. I don't get annoyed in the game because I don't know. I'm a pretty calm person, but
Yeah.
yeah. He said, "Nah, you said Magic the Gathering, and there's so much politics in the game. I wasn't sure if Unmatched had." Oh, okay. So I guess if we're considering, I get what you're saying. So the answer to that would be no. So politics, I can't judge that because I haven't played face to face. I think when I think of that for like Magic the Gathering or like Yu-Gi-Oh, because I had more experience with that, I was better at that than I was Magic. Um, there a lot of it came from playing in person. I don't think I've been affected by politics with either of those virtually. Can't say I've played Magic virtually, so I could also be wrong. But just knowing off of theory alone, I don't think that's a factor here. I think the game will change for Unmatched though playing in person. So I don't think I can effectively answer that because COVID hit before all these awesome characters came out. So I didn't get a
Yeah.
lot of in-person play. I don't think I would have played a lot of them without for you, Keith, actually.
The only
So
people I played in person with were my brothers and sisters, and that's like I think I've played with 6 different brothers and sisters that I have. I have more than that, but only 6 of them played me. And then my friend and pastor, he plays me, and that's pretty much it. I haven't really got to play in person either, but I play online almost I'd say about once a day at least. I
Fair,
usually get a
yeah,
match in.
yeah. Um,
Or I have to
you said,
whip somebody up with Western Legends and whoop on them.
yeah, no, that was fun. I want to get more people in on it. I want to see what like a long game looks like. Because I was reading, you had me reading, which I won't talk too in depth on that here, but you had me reading the expansion because I was curious like what it actually added. Now that I understood how the game played,
Yeah,
and I don't think that expansion would be good at all if you don't play um, for the full action point number. I don't
yeah,
think 15 you get to do half of that.
yeah.
And I
You'd
felt
need to
like,
play. I like playing the
yeah,
full long game. I like a long game. I'll
yeah,
play it longer.
yeah,
I'll
same.
play it double.
He said my wife hates Bruce playing against Bruce Lee.
My wife
Yeah,
hates against playing against me, so
yeah, Bruce Lee is funny. Bruce Lee, just the combos, I can see where the frustration comes. I don't think I've played a lot of people playing Bruce Lee against me though. That's
yeah.
also
We played that 1v1 Bruce Lee. I was Bruce Lee, and so were you.
yeah. We were I felt like I like the mirror match idea, but I think we picked the wrong mirror match because
Yeah,
that game ended really quickly, and
yeah,
I was like, oh. And then we like played another game after. I was like, all right, we'll just do another one. No more mirror match.
right.
Um, So the politics thing could work if they come out with a character that can buff or debuff characters. That'd be dope. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think I guess if we're looking at it from yeah, and the thing I'm always weary about with competitive card games is because there gets to a point. It happened with Yu-Gi-Oh, happened with Magic,
Happens to
to
know.
where they do something a little too thought out and it ends up breaking the game to where they have to have a ban list. I don't see that being the issue with something like this, but hand traps were a big issue with Yu-Gi-Oh! That freaking destroyed that game. You can't play a deck without those. So I think I would be more wary about those kinds of things being added to the game because they could add like reaction cards. I don't think I want decks that have a lot of reaction. That's why a lot of people hate Faint cards because it reminds me of those annoying interactions that you have with like Magic. So
I
I
love
can
Feint.
I do too. I think it's an insanely powerful card. But I understand why people get frustrated with it.
Yeah.
Cause like, yo, watching the best Faint on a King Arthur is like the most satisfying thing in the world. And something about watching people's face every time I know they're about to Excalibur me, it feels like the same move that they do. All right, they're coming close. How many cards you got in your hand? All right, let me see your discard pile. Okay, he's about to go in for Excalibur. So he's either gonna do it for the first time or the second time to try to fake me out. So I got two feints in hand. We're good. But yeah, something about feigning him is just really satisfying. That's my favorite character to feint because it's
Yeah.
over.
I like when I play King Arthur with my friends and family, I only use uh, I printed off a playing card, and it's that he
Oh
gets to
yeah,
keep
yeah, you told
his
me about that.
painted card. I do that. I also do where you shuffle Excalibur in the top 15 and Lady of the Lake in the bottom 15 of the deck, and it just makes them just slightly better. I don't
I
care.
don't. I haven't given up on him. I like the idea behind King Arthur. I just didn't like playing him in the base set when that was all I had because I like the other characters more, Alice and Medusa more. And then more characters came out, and I just started liking them more. And I felt like he just got left behind. Like Sinbad, I didn't play till later when we played. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. He was running around the map. He wasn't the most exciting character.
He used to be my favorite. He used to be
Yeah,
my favorite. Now he's my least favorite character.
yeah. I don't hate
He
him.
got
I think
so
he's fun
like
for people that are
he's
new. I
got
think
one
he's
way to
probably
play though.
true. I think he's fun for new
Like
players
you
though.
do
Like
the
if I
same
gave a
thing
new
every
player
time.
him, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, but new players they love that. That simplicity is excellent. But then we got Bigfoot now, which if you're a new player, I'm probably gonna give you Bigfoot now, almost always. Unless you see the
Bigfoot
characters,
or
I
Angel.
think you'll like them more. Like I know certain people that would like playing Bruce Lee more, so I'll let them. I mean, I'll let people choose, but I'll let them know, like, look, these characters are a little bit tricky. Might not be the
My
best to start with.
my brother doesn't play board games, and I said, well, you should probably be Bigfoot, And he said, no, I want to be Alice. I was like, all right, fine, be Alice. And he beat me, and he did really good his first time. And it's because he plays so many video games, and he's got the craziest strategy video game, most optimal thing. He did it to me in Western Legends too. Like he did the most optimal path, and he just went and he did this thing over and over and over again. And even when I went to attack him, he just kept doing it. So like it just depends on the person you're playing against too. Like you got to know.
Yeah.
And I think playing so many board games has helped me not only in board gaming things, but in other like delegating things in my life that I have to do, whether that's like at church or at uh, like
So
with
you're
my
doing real life resource management?
yeah
Wow.
yeah no like a lot of people. I have friends that are casual gamers, but they play some um, like I played the Resistance with somebody yesterday
You told me
for
about
the
that.
first
I
time,
like that.
and they taught it horrible. And I thought to myself, I think I used to do that too, but I think now because I've played so many games, read so many rule books, watched so much board game stuff online, that it's actually helped me to be able to teach games and not only teach games better, but explain other things to people better. Like this is what you need to do. This is what our goal is, that type of thing. So anyway, I get sidetracked.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean they seem to be done with the questions. I mainly just wanted to talk about like why I because there was a lot of like argument. Oh, she's weak attack, Little Red. Like she can't be good. Like once you understand it, blah blah blah. And I think she can only get smarter. I won't say better because I don't know. Future sets come out.
Yeah,
Matchups will always matter in this game. Some will have stronger than others. But I will agree on the fact that I think outside of these two playing together, Beowulf will probably have a little bit more success versus a lot of other characters, even in the future. So he's a solid character, and he's
yeah,
not too complicated. Like I don't think. I mean, I understand these are advanced characters, but I almost wouldn't mind giving someone Little Red for the beginning of their game because at the very least they match the symbols. Seems
yeah,
like an easy strategy to still win. But
yeah,
yeah, and Beowulf, just show them what the best card looks like before. You don't want them to waste it. You're
yeah,
like, yo, see these? When you take damage, you flip all these over. Yeah, it hurts.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
just don't cry when you get hit by an heirloom, ancient heirloom, and demolished. I had somebody rage quit on me because he was just so mad. I was like, man, what am I playing? A child? It's ridiculous. I beat him back to back like 6 times in a row, and he just wasn't happy. So, but he wanted to keep playing, and then he just quit. He said, "I'm not having fun," and he just logged off.
I remember when
I
I was
didn't.
telling you a while back when the first set came out, and we were at PAX Unplugged, because at Gen Con it sold out. That's a whole nother story. But PAX Unplugged ended up getting it, and I remember all these people were like gathered around. They did a little mini tournament too, but these people were gathered around, and they were like, "Yo, man, Medusa sucks," blah blah blah, and I was like, that at that point I was like, "Yo, I want to make these guys rage quit." Like, part of me was like, "Yo, I don't think they read Medusa. Like, she got some sidekicks here." Because I liked Alice, she was my favorite, but I got really good with Medusa because they said that, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, hey, you guys want to play? I'm interested in showing you a little bit with Medusa. I've been working on her a little bit. They're like, yeah, of course. Can I be Alice? Yeah. I was like, oh, this girl is really strong.
Yeah,
But yeah, I definitely understand the whole um, rage quit thing. But something about like people that are like overly confident, I like playing that. I don't know. I like those odds.
yeah,
But
right.
again, I'm generally pretty calm, so I don't. It is what it is. If I lose, I mean, you played better than me or you drew better than me.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It's not that. It's literally just the game in the end.
Any
But
guess how T Rex will work? All attack cards and high health. This is one character we will be speculating because we never play tested this guy. So yeah, I mean, no, I don't know. I do think he's. They talked about him being a bigger mini, so like maybe he hogs two spots. I remember you and I were talking before, but like maybe an action to turn him around, and maybe he has different attacks with his tail. That would be pretty cool. And
I,
head.
I think
So
that he won't be able to attack unless he's facing forward. I don't know. This is just a speculation.
yeah,
Unless he's
I
facing
don't know.
forward. I think he has to take a. He can move three, but one of his moves has to be a turnaround.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what. Yeah,
Or
I
maybe
agree. I
all of
think
his
something
moves.
like that. High health. You
Oh yeah,
know.
he'll be like 20 at least.
Yeah, yeah.
But
He probably won't have much defense though.
I
That's
think
probably
that he won't be able to defend. Like on his ability, you can't defend if unless you're facing the opponent. So if you're attacking his butt or his
no.
tail, you just get to
What if
attack.
you could only attack if you were facing him with your front, but could only defend because like your tail could potentially defend an attack, right? That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe the tail can attack, but not defend.
That'd be so cool. Cause like if you think about T Rex, like he can't.
I
He's
think
got the little arms.
he'll
What?
have
How
some
many?
defense cards. I just think he'll be like Raptors. Like Raptors don't have that many defense cards. I think that T-Rex will have a few. He'll probably have feint, and he'll have like a solid 5 like Willow has, probably defense, maybe even a solid 6. And you might have a couple of that. Who knows?
I've been waiting for this set for a while since they first even announced Jurassic Park
Justin
coming.
just said that it could come as early as the Marvel sets, like around that time, or it could come as like the first two Marvel sets, or Battle of Legends Volume 2, or it could
Wait,
come as
did they release like cues for different quarters? Did they already say what quarters things were coming out in?
I think relatively, but they were unsure. I think the first two Marvel sets and Battle Legends Volume 2 are in the same area, and they don't know which one's coming out first.
I wonder if there's gonna be a set release before the end of March. That's my only question. That's the cue I'm like interested in. But T Rex is
Yeah.
one that I think will make me want to play Raptors more because something about Raptors versus T Rex sounds like a really fun match.
If anything comes out in April, I won't be here. I think I'll be in Bolivia in April, but I'm not sure. So
You think?
yeah, I think so. Just for a month.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess you can wait your 4 months before you get it. So
Yeah,
Tyler,
I'll
I'm
pay that
glad you
extra
believe
shipping.
in Jekyll and Hyde. My goal is to prove you right. John, please record you proving us right because I want to see him played more. Because I agree. I mean, as I mentioned, like he's the most underrated character for me because I am refusing to play him because I want to play other characters. But I think he has. I was reading his cards. He does so much, and I feel like it's so chaotic that I didn't have enough time to like really strategize like when is the right optimal time to do it versus different characters. But I think he does some really good things.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
think
good.
anything is coming out first quarter. It sounds like I wouldn't
Yeah,
be surprised, and I wouldn't be upset by it because I still have a lot to play.
I have a
And like
lot
I
to
was telling
play,
y'all, yeah, I still got the Buffy stuff to kind of run through. So I
and I
mean,
got a ton of uh, customs I
yeah,
gotta get through.
oh yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be fine. I don't. I will say this: if they are coming out relatively close, I am praying we're not getting month. I mean, that sounds like the dream and all. And in any other game, I'd probably be super excited. But because I like to spend a little bit of time with each character, that's going to be a little overwhelming.
From here on out, if they just came out with 2 sets a year, I'd be fine. Like we already have so many characters, and this ain't gonna be HeroScape size, or I'm gonna just be broke and my family will hate me. But yeah, it's just I I
Yeah.
I think from here on out too, people can be more selective with what they like and what they, you know, what if they like IPs, what IPs, and if they like public domain. Because I know some people didn't like um, Battle of Legends Volume One, and some people didn't like Jurassic Park or Buffy and so on, and people didn't like Marvel. Well, you can pick and choose now. There's so many out there that now's the time that like you can just slow
You
down.
can afford to be picky because there's
Yeah.
enough sets for everyone. Yeah.
I'm
And you
gonna be
have to.
I'm gonna be more picky from now on, and not, and I hope they still make sets that I don't like that other people like. I hope they do. I'm just
Yeah.
not, you know.
And I'm pretty excited for some of these like the fact that they're choosing these Marvel characters, even I didn't know. Like, who the heck is a Squirrel Girl? I looked it up. I thought it was a joke. I was like, no, what? That's
I know
awesome.
Marvel. I know Marvel stuff pretty well, but we'll see if I'll buy any of those. But I am playtesting two of the sets, same as you. So
Yeah. So he said technically street date for Little Red is January 27th. Good point. I forgot. I did the pre-order thing. Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. So technically, okay, that's fair. Because it did feel like it came a little back to back from Buffy, so that makes sense. Because we pre-ordered it, we got it out. All
oh
right.
yeah, we
So
always getting it
let's
early.
here. That is it. Not to mention trying to fit everything in a box. I actually, I'm pretty confident I found a really solid storage solution that will not only fit every set, it'll fit every miniature, and it'll fit all the maps.
Wow.
I just saw it when I was at work like last week, and I actually forgot about it. So you mentioned that. I have it in my cart, but I need to look into it a little bit more. But I think I found a solid storage solution that will have everything I'm looking for.
Yeah, you'll have to show me.
But
I mean, I already have a pretty decent one. I think
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the best one for now.
yeah. I agree. I just think this one will fit everything, and you won't have to have multiple caves. I think that was what was key for me, and it looks fancy. I'll send it to you. I actually forgot about it. So just now he said, but yeah, fitting in a box. I agree. It's tricky because right now I'm carrying all the boxes. I think you're, but I mean I'm not going really anywhere either. So right now it's not hurting me. I think you're right though with your Jekyll Hyde assessment. Timing is everything, and that's what I love about him too. Anytime I lose, I feel if it was my fault, and I can always find something that I could have done. Yeah, I agree. And that's how I try to treat a lot of characters. I just felt like when I first played him, I knew that he was going to require a lot of time. So I was hoping someone else would put in the time for me so I could see how it would look like. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm pretty excited to hear that you really want to focus on him, John, because I still got to focus on getting some of the characters I haven't gotten to the table yet.
It's hard.
But
Like I play a lot, and I haven't even played 10 matches with every character. That well, since I started recording in September.
I was gonna say I don't know, man. Match a day, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be all right.
So, yeah, well,
But
it's quite a bit. And I don't count matches when I record them. I don't count matches that I play against
college,
new people or children, like children that I don't know, or my wife because she's like so bad at it and that it just I don't count it as a win. Like I don't even know what she's thinking sometimes laying cards. But that's all right. So I just don't count those ones. I count it against only if I play an experienced player. And that way I can keep track of who's winning in these matchups and have a better understanding when we do stuff like this of
I'll
why.
stop counting my wins. I'm about to just start counting wins versus you now, since you're the only competitive person
So
I
what are
can
you
play
at
with.
right now then? 0?
Whoa, now actually, when we were counting before, we were tied. We don't play. We haven't played as much lately.
Yeah, we were
Like
counting for
the
like
existing
6
characters,
games.
to be fair, existing characters, yeah. Because it's been whether it's you play testing your characters because you want to create 50 new ones a week, and then, or for them it says definitely been playing him a lot and will continue to work on most of this. That were the main takeaways regarding what were the main takeaways. So the main takeaways were for Little Red. A lot of people thought her having really small attacks and not the biggest of defenses was her weakness, and that's far from it. She also doesn't rely heavily on her sidekick as some other characters do, but the sidekick is also just really strong, so you
Yeah.
do kind of have to focus a little bit on it and understand what his cards do.
And Beowulf
Beowulf,
is great. Best character in the
yeah,
game.
Beowulf is good if you manage your rage effectively, and even sometimes you're forced in a situation where you don't. And if he doesn't have any rage and you go in for the kill, that could be detrimental if you have the right cards. Because his defenses, he doesn't have as many, and the ones he does aren't all very strong. Man, I hope your wife doesn't watch this.
What do you say?
Uh-oh. He said, man, I hope your wife doesn't watch this. Yeah, she won't.
No, she won't.
I need to get a webcam so I can play with you guys. Unless you're in Florida. Or get yeah. I was gonna say
Does it
Johnny TTS
does it look
lately is what
like
I've been.
does it look like I'm in Florida?
Yeah, that's crazy. Actually, you got snow. Oof, I don't want that right now.
I don't
Hate
even know.
that.
I don't know what it is, but it was below zero this morning for sure. Somewhere below zero. Man, it was cold.
Texas snowed actually. It's
Really?
actually that's insanity. Yeah, they have about as much as you have,
Oh,
which I've never seen living in Texas. I've seen footprints of snow, but
th-
they've made snowmen. My family, I was like, whoa, that's
it's been.
amazing. Good for them.
This is yeah, global warming.
Yeah. Johnny, but yeah, I would say TTS if you can.
Yeah.
A lot of people play it. I think it's a little more convenient. I love the webcam thing, and we played it a lot in the beginning. But
Yep.
now part of me is a little bit lazy because I got to
You
set it
use
up and stuff
you
like that.
use an iPad and I use a phone when we would use a webcam.
Yeah,
We don't use laptops for that. We just use our
yeah,
phone. So if you have a smartphone with a, I just prop mine up on a chair. You put yours on a table, I think. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so we technically don't use webcams, but yeah, phones, easy, easy solution for sure.
yeah.
He said, "I'm a firm Beowulf believer.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He probably number three for me after Jekyll Hyde and Invisible Man. Ooh, he likes all the underdogs. I think Beowulf is good, but I think a lot of people that were initially talking about like him, like Little Red not really having any contest versus him was crazy to me. I don't think I've personally lost a game with Little Red, and I definitely need to play you more versus her because I'm curious. Like now that we play the characters a lot more, how different that game would be. Because that first game, I felt like I was sitting on top of the world, but I also read your cards and was like, how did you not just wreck my life? So I don't know. Playing
I've
her,
played a lot of
she's
Beowulf since
very
then,
fun.
and
Seemed really underrated at first. His potential seems ridiculous. I think he has the best matchup versus the highest amount of characters I've seen. Um,
he's the
Again, my
best
favorite was
counter
still
pick. Beowulf is the
yeah.
best counter pick against Bigfoot.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I don't think there's a character that I have a better matchup versus him. And I'm glad. Like, we need to start getting characters that just put him in the dirt. I mean, I personally haven't struggled a lot versus Bigfoot, but I will say I have to work a lot harder than they do.
But they didn't make, what's neat is they didn't make a character better than Bigfoot. They, um, I mean, like on a tier list, like he's not the best character. Beowulf is not the best character in the game. He's just a Bigfoot killer.
See, the thing too is you can't do that. So that's where power creep comes way too quick. If you make a character stronger than Bigfoot, then he's like now the strongest character. What are his best matchups? He's
Yeah,
got to have a crazy weakness. So
that
you don't want it to keep getting better because then it gets broken.
that's why we don't want Superman, we don't want Thor, and we don't want Goku.
I mean, if he's, you can put what do you call it? Um, words are really hard. Superman, his non-Superman form.
Clark Kent.
There you go. Why was word? Yeah, that was really hard to come to my head. All right, yeah, have him in there. He's just weak. Yeah,
Clark
you keep
Kent.
him.
Clark Kent's just as strong as Superman.
Nah, he's not allowed to be.
He is Superman though.
No. But yeah, I agree. I mean, that was a discussion someone brought up too. They were like, "Do you want characters like that?" And you voiced the opinion about like Goku and stuff like that. I agree. I think there's definitely some like far fetched areas, but it hasn't been too stretched.
There
Like I
is
like big
there's a
characters.
couple characters.
Like T Rex, that sounds insanity. Like Bruce Lee beating up a T Rex sounds hilarious to me, and I kind of like that. That's pretty
I
funny.
think yeah, I think that one's gonna be fine. But like when you got some invincible guy like Thor, what are you gonna do? Nothing. Not in real life, not in my mind. So
He
sure
said,
you
"My
could.
house, Beowulf is won all but one with Little Red matches." Woo! Must be a small house. Just kidding. Or a big house. God.
He plays himself.
Mirrors. That's the trick. He sees his own hands. No. But yeah, no, I mean,
Hey,
and there's a lot of people that have had more success with Beowulf. I just I haven't been one of them in terms of me playing Little Red yet. And I think it will. I mean, she has weak matchups versus other characters because that was kind of where I did a lot of my other testing. Like I struggled with her versus who was it? Uh, Robin Hood I
yeah,
played. didn't struggle as much with her with him as much as I did with Beowulf versus him. Invisible Man was a really weird matchup versus him.
Hmm.
Um, can't think of all the others yet. Bruce Lee, I smacked around. That was pretty fun, but I may have gotten lucky because I had some insane hands.
You reminded me when you said about the mirror, like he uses a mirror to look at his own cards or whatever. I my friend's grandpa, he or no, my friend's grandpa's buddy, him and his wife would play, I don't know, like some pokerish style card game, and they played it for like 50 years, and he always won and she never won. And on their deathbed he told her that he always set her in front of the like the china hutch with a mirror. And I just thought
Man,
that,
that's a savage way to go out,
I
yo.
know
By
that,
the way, your life is a lie. I'm a cheater.
that's
Yeah,
hilarious. I would love
that's
to
like,
do that.
yeah, I know. By the way,
Yeah, I love long running jokes. I It's hilarious to
that
me.
is no, that is the ultimate because you ended it. It's over. You went with your joke. Like you won. That's amazing. I plan to play a lot more with
Yeah.
Little Red, but haven't gotten around to it yet. What matchups have you found difficult for Red? Yeah, as I mentioned, oddly enough, Invisible Man was a weird one for me. I don't know if it was just like the situation. I think
I
Muldoon
don't
will
think
probably be
I don't
a
think she has
difficult
any
matchup.
glowing difficult matchups. Like there's none that are just like she gets
Yeah,
decimated by anybody. I don't think so. But then again, I haven't played her against everybody, so who knows?
yeah, same. I'm also trying to like have theories here, so maybe Muldoon. I mean, I also think that's going to be the same difficult matchup for Beowulf. She might have a difficult matchup versus Bigfoot if the right person plays her. I haven't had that issue yet. She's done pretty well for me versus him, but Beowulf was like a blowout. I felt like I just took up the game. Like I didn't even get hit with the horns enough times. Like I got hit with the horns once with Beowulf. It was already over. He got too close. Boom. Gone.
Yeah.
Dang. All right, come back here, Bigfoot. I almost want to play a game with Bigfoot without his sidekick because he moves around so much, and that something about characters with 3 movement is hilarious to me.
They're too good.
But yeah, I would say a lot of the difficult matchups is going to be theory for right now because I haven't played versus everyone yet, and I mean, like I said, I haven't had a lot of I've had quite a bit of some success with her, but Invisible Man was a weird one. Again, I don't know if it was just what I drew and what they drew, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, we should wrap this up. I gotta get going.
yeah, I'm done. See you guys. It was fun chatting with everyone.
Yeah, see ya.
Peace.